Hi everyone, my name's Gareth Peter and I'm a children's author and have written a book called Adventures with My Daddies. Now I'm really excited today because the amazing gang at Peachtree have asked me to answer some questions and they've sent me a treasure chest full of questions. So let's have a go. Let's hope I know the answers. The first one is: which spread within Adventures with My Daddies is your favourite and why? I love them all. Generally, I love them all. And I'm not just saying that because I wrote the book. But there's one that really stands out for me, just a little bit above the rest. It's the centre spread. And if you look at it, you'll see it as a photograph album. So anybody picking it up that doesn't know about adoption or different ways of finding a family, you will see it as a wonderful photograph album of memories and activities that the family have done together. But if you have gone through the adoption process, especially within the UK, you may see it as something called a life story book, which is something you read, you work together, you complete with your little one to tell them about their journey, their story, how they got to come to live with you. And it's beautiful. It's amazing to share that kind of connection with your little ones, so they always know where they've come from and you are totally honest and open with them. And so every time I see that, there's added love in it as well. So check that one out. I don't want to say too much more about it, but hopefully you'll enjoy that spread too. But I love them all. Really difficult question. Okay, here we go again. What inspired you to write Adventures with My Daddies? That's easy. My boys. Got two beautiful adopted boys. They're wonderfully lively, fantastic, and hilarious as well. But I used to read, well, I still do. Every single night we read several books, picture books onto chapter books. And to me, it's the most special time. It's a quiet time to share fantasy, excitement, journeys, stories, and wonderful tales and characters. And I was reading so many of them that I thought, I'd like to do this. I've always been a writer. I've always written things from theatre songs, plays, musicals, poems when I was a teenie. But it was when I started to write children's books that it kind of went ding! This is what you were made to do. You can be as creative, as wacky, as wild, as wonderful as you want. And because you're reading it with your little one, you get to see their expression, their love, their understanding, their wonderment of the book right next to you. So imagine that you have written the book that they're getting, giving those responses to. It's amazing. So my inspiration completely was them and story time. And the story itself has got elements of our life, our family life, and our adoption journey as well. It's a really special book for me, and I hope you enjoy it too. Here we go again. What is this one? What is your creative process like? Well, first thing that I do every day is get up, run about the house, panic because we're late, get the little ones ready for school and walk them up to school with the dog. We've got two dogs, we've got two huskies, very furry huskies. Walk up to school, drop them off, come home and have another coffee because I've already had one to kickstart the morning. So I usually do that and then I start the emails and then I gaze out the window for a bit. Not because I'm procrastinating, but because I kind of like to climatise myself with the world and greet the day, whether it's a sunny day or not. But today, it's beautiful. I don't know if you can tell. Gorgeous sunny day. So I start that way. Coffee, maybe a biscuit or two, or a packet of biscuits or a cake. I don't need too many, but I do like a biscuit. and I do think it channels the creative juices and focuses the mind. So I guess then I have usually got story ideas that I'm working on. Those ideas generally come when I'm not thinking about them. I'm not one of those people that can just sit down and go, right, I need to think of something to write. It usually happens when I'm in a shower, when I'm walking the dog, when I'm at a park. I always have to have my phone with me so I can jot down notes. But usually those ideas have already come, I program them into my phone, and so I sit down, coffee, look out the window, 7,000 biscuits, and I try and formulate those ideas into a story. Sometimes that doesn't always work, and they may be elements that go into other stories, but most of the time I kind of know what I'm doing, the direction that I want to go in, like the story or the journey that I'm trying to tell. I usually have an A to B, but it's the meat in the section, in the centre, sorry, that I then try and flesh out with these ideas. And that's generally what I do until lunchtime. Do a bit more writing, check some emails, watch some Netflix or Disney, which also is a really good way to relax and switch off. Because if you're constantly thinking about stories, it's, you know, it can be kind of like, because ideas come all the time. But if you just shut off, read a book, I sometimes listen to lots of audiobooks as well. You can just shut off, and then the creative process is like it's fresh and new again afterwards. And then I get more ideas, I suppose, when I'm walking up to the school. And I'm usually talking to myself, but what I'm doing is I'm reading the stories over and over in my head to make sure that they sound right and make sure I don't trip over the words. If I trip over any words, then I haven't got the beat, the pattern, or the rhythm right. I do that a lot. Yeah. I wonder what people think. Never ask them. Okay, no, there's only a couple left. What do you like most about writing for children? Everything. Like creativity, everything. You can do what you want in a children's book. You can't necessarily do that in maybe an adult book. You can't have them blasting off to the moon unless it's a fantastical story. But it's okay for a kid to have a dinosaur as a pet, or, you know, to sail off to some land within the mirror. Creativity is phenomenal within children's books. There's wonderment, there's innocence, there's purity, vulnerability as well. You can get so much into children's books. I sometimes prefer them to young adult books and that deal with issues. I like being wacky and like going off on amazing adventures, like in the book as well. Yeah, good question. What does family mean to you? Everything. That's probably the easiest one to answer. Absolutely everything. It means love, it means understanding, growth. I think you always grow throughout your life, and then when you become a parent as well, you seem to learn new things, or you learn the things you thought you knew again through the eyes of a child. And I mean, that's amazing. When your little ones come home and they tell you something they've just found out, you may have forgotten. You may have forgotten what it's like to be learning things, and you feel like you're on another journey yourself. But my family are the most important thing ever. I'm sure everybody's family is, but I completely think they are amazingly wonderful. I don't want to get too gushy, because I'm sure everybody does think that, but family means everything to me. Love, 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 love. What is... Oh, I've dropped one on the floor. Dear, oh dear. How did you feel when you first saw Gary's interpretation of the story? Truthfully, I cried. Honestly, I saw these... I don't want to call them rough, but they're called roughs. They're basically pencil sketches of what he proposed were going to be those scenes and tableaus. And the first time I saw them, I cried. I think that was one of the times that I thought, wow, I'm actually an author. I've actually created something. I've been part of a team that is creating a book. And that is, it's so humbling. I was so proud of myself and the publishers, both UK and America, to take a chance on doing, you know, this kind of book that talks about family. And so I looked at that, I saw myself on those pages. The story had been completely taken to another level, and it was just, I can still remember it now, and it's phenomenal. I feel like that when I see proofs for my other books as well, but you never forget that very, very first time that I thought, I was made to do this. It just felt right. And they are phenomenal, lovely, wonderful and knowledgeable illustrations too. They didn't change too much from that initial pencil sketch, but I absolutely love them. It made me cry. And I dropped the last story. The last question is, drum roll please, if you could adventure anywhere, anytime, where and when would you go? As the book's about adventures, that seems like a brilliant question. Well, I'd go with my family, definitely. I would love to explore the world with them. Me and my partner have been to quite a few countries and seen some amazing sights, but there's so many wonderful things that I want my boys to experience as well. So I probably would go on a round the world trip, which may sound cliche, but I wouldn't necessarily do it in this time. I love history, and there are so many different periods that I'd like to experience, like World War II, as morbid as that sounds, the Victorian era, as smoggly foggly as that sounds, the Tudor period, to meet Henry VIII, go horse riding, all those wonderful things. And although I wouldn't necessarily like to meet the dinosaurs, I wouldn't mind going back to like prehistoric times to actually find out what was it like with no buildings, electricity, lights, simple times. So I'd probably travel the world, as long as I knew I could get back to here and a comfortable bed. I don't really want to sleep on a cave floor. That would be amazing, but as long as I got my family as well, just not having your phone, you know, not having to go anywhere, not, you know, pay any taxes or anything like that. Just have a simple time where you just focus on enjoyment and seeing new things together would be phenomenal. Well, that's it. That's all the questions. Sorry if I babbled, but I hope that is okay and you enjoyed a little insight into this author's bonkers head. If you do want to get a little bit further into my head, make sure you check out this wonderful book by me and Garry Parsons, published by Peachtree. I'm really proud of it. I love it, and I hope you will too. It's about love, it's about family, and it's about going on adventures. Winner! See you later. Bye.